Something is happening inside you, Sagittarius, and you can feel it even if you cannot name it yet. It is a restlessness that is different from the usual kind. Not the itch to escape, not the urge to run away from something, but a pull towards something. Something bigger, something truer, something that your soul has been preparing for longer than you realize. This video is going to walk you through 10 signs that you are ready for a life leap. And if even half of these resonate, then the time is now. Do not leave before the last sign because it ties everything together. Sign 1. The first sign that you are ready for a life leap is that your old comforts no longer comfort you. The things that used to bring you peace, the routines that used to feel safe, the habits that used to soothe you at the end of a long day, they have stopped working. Not because there is something wrong with them, but because you have outgrown them. Your comfort zone has become your confinement zone. And the fact that you can feel the difference is the sign itself. When a Sagittarius stops finding comfort in their comfort zone, it means their spirit is preparing for expansion. It means the invisible contract you made with the familiar version of your life has expired, and your soul is ready to negotiate a new one. This does not mean everything in your life needs to change. It means the relationship between you and your life needs to evolve. The same cup of morning coffee can stay. The same walks can stay. But the energy you bring to them, the intention behind them, the awareness with which you experience them, that needs to shift. And it is already shifting whether you chose it or not. You are not bored, Sagittarius. You are being called. And there is a massive difference between those two things. Boredom is passive. A calling is active. It has direction. It has weight. It has the kind of urgency that does not come from panic but from purpose. Listen to it. It knows something you are still learning to trust. Sign 2. The second sign is that you have started to think about legacy more than achievement. For most of your life, you were driven by goals. The next milestone, the next accomplishment, the next thing you could point to and say, I did that. And those achievements were real and they mattered. But lately, something has shifted. You are less interested in what you can do and more interested in what you can leave behind. You think about the people who will carry your name, your stories, your values after you are gone. You think about the impact you have had, not in terms of trophies or titles, but in terms of lives touched, hearts opened, and minds changed. That shift from achievement to legacy is one of the most powerful transitions a human being can make. It means you have moved beyond ego and into something deeper. Something that connects you to the thread of life that extends far beyond your own years. And when a Sagittarius starts thinking in terms of legacy, it is a clear sign that a leap is coming. Because legacy requires action. Legacy requires you to plant trees whose shade you may never sit under. Legacy requires you to invest in things that will not pay off in your lifetime but will pay off in the lifetimes of those who come after you. That is not a retreat from life, Sagittarius. That is the most advanced form of living there is. Sign 3. The third sign is that you have stopped being afraid of being alone. Not lonely alone. There is a difference and you have finally learned it. Loneliness is the feeling that something is missing. Aloneness is the feeling that nothing needs to be added. And you have reached a place where you can sit with yourself in complete silence without reaching for your phone, without turning on the television, without filling the space with noise, and feel perfectly at peace. That is not a small thing. For someone who spent decades surrounded by people, constantly engaging, constantly connecting, constantly performing the role of the social, adventurous Sagittarius everyone expected you to be, choosing to be alone and enjoying it is revolutionary. It means you have done the inner work. It means you have made peace with the person you are when no one is watching. And it means you are ready for a leap because leaps require solitude. They require moments of quiet where you can hear the voice inside you that knows exactly what to do. That voice has always been there, Sagittarius. But for most of your life, it was drowned out by the noise of everyone else's opinions. Now, in the silence, you can finally hear it. And what it is telling you, pay attention to that. Sign 4. The fourth sign is that your tolerance for inauthenticity has dropped to 0. You cannot fake it anymore. You cannot smile when you do not mean it. You cannot agree when you do not believe it. You cannot pretend to be interested in conversations that waste your time or relationships that drain your energy. And while that might sound harsh to some people, for you it is liberation. Because every moment you spend being inauthentic is a moment you are not living your real life. And you have reached a point where your real life is the only one worth living. This dropping of pretense is a sign that your inner world has become strong enough to stand on its own. You no longer need external validation to feel confident. You no longer need to perform for other people to feel valuable. You have found your value inside yourself, and it does not require an audience. When a Sagittarius reaches this level of self-honesty, a leap is inevitable, because you cannot see the truth about yourself and then continue living a lie. The two things cannot coexist. And since you are no longer willing to lie to yourself, the only option left is to leap toward the truth. Whatever that looks like, wherever it takes you, however uncomfortable the landing might be, you are ready for it, Sagittarius. Your honesty has prepared you. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Sign 5. The fifth sign is that you have started to feel a physical restlessness that has no obvious cause. Your body knows before your mind does, Sagittarius. It always has. And right now, your body is sending you signals. A tension in your shoulders that stretching does not fix. An energy in your legs that walking does not fully release. A feeling in your chest that is not anxiety, not excitement, but something in between. Something that feels like standing at the edge of a diving board. Your body is preparing for movement. Not the kind of movement you do every day, but the kind that changes your trajectory. And the physical restlessness you are feeling is your nervous system recalibrating for the life that is about to begin. Pay attention to these sensations. Do not dismiss them as stress or aging or just one of those things. Your body is your oldest ally, and it is trying to tell you that the current chapter is ending and a new one is beginning. When you listen to your body, you discover that it holds a wisdom your mind cannot access. A wisdom that is not made of words or logic but of feeling, of instinct, of the kind of knowing that comes from decades of being alive and learning to trust the signals that others ignore. Sign 6. The sixth sign is that you have recently felt drawn to simplify your life. Not in a superficial way, not in a Marie Kondo kind of way, but in a deep, fundamental way. You want less noise, less clutter, less obligation, less of everything that does not serve the person you are becoming. And you have started to act on that desire. You have let go of possessions that no longer hold meaning. You have declined invitations that no longer excite you. You have stepped back from commitments that drain more than they give. And with each thing you release, you feel lighter. Not empty, but open. Open for something new. This desire to simplify is not about giving up. It is about making room. Because you cannot leap into a new life if your arms are full of the old one. You need space. Physical space, mental space, emotional space, spiritual space. And every unnecessary thing you release creates exactly that. The universe is watching, Sagittarius. It is watching you clear the runway. And when the path is clear enough, when you have removed enough of what was weighing you down, the leap will happen naturally. You will not even have to think about it. You will simply step forward and find yourself flying. Sign 7. The seventh sign is that you have found yourself drawn to younger energy. Not in a way that makes you feel old, but in a way that makes you feel alive. You enjoy being around people who are still discovering themselves, still making mistakes with enthusiasm, still believing that anything is possible. Their energy does not exhaust you. It recharges you, because it reminds you of who you were. And more importantly, it reminds you of who you still are. You see yourself in their eyes, in their hunger, in their refusal to accept that life has a ceiling. And something inside you responds, says you are not done yet. You are not finished exploring. You are not finished growing. You are just at a different elevation, looking at the same mountain from a higher ledge. And the view from here is better than it has ever been. This attraction to younger energy is a sign that your own energy is rising, that the Sagittarian fire that defines you is not dimming but redirecting. It is finding new fuel and new connections, new perspectives, new ways of seeing the world. And when your fire starts to burn in a new direction, a leap is always close behind. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting. It's about moving. Sign 8. The eighth sign is that synchronicities have increased. You keep seeing the same numbers. You keep hearing the same phrases from different people. You keep stumbling upon the same ideas in different books, different conversations, different moments of quiet reflection. And while part of you wants to dismiss these as coincidence, another part of you, the part that has always believed in something bigger, knows better. These are not accidents. They are confirmations. The universe is sending you breadcrumbs, Sagittarius, and each one is pointing in the same direction, toward the leap you are meant to take. Synchronicity is the language of alignment. When your inner world and the outer world start speaking the same language, when the same message keeps appearing through different channels, it means you are on the right frequency. You are tuned in to the energy that is trying to guide you. And that guidance is not subtle anymore. It is getting louder, more frequent, more impossible to ignore. Pay attention to these moments. Write them down if you need to, because when you look at them together, when you see the pattern they form, the direction becomes undeniable. The universe is not confused about where you should go. It is you who has been hesitating. The signs are clear. The path is lit. All that is left is for you to walk it. Sign 9. The 9th sign is that you have stopped being interested in proving yourself and started being interested in expressing yourself. For decades, everything you did had an element of performance in it. You wanted people to see your intelligence, your capability, your fire. You wanted to be recognized, validated, applauded. And that desire drove you to accomplish remarkable things. But somewhere along the way, the need for applause faded. Not because you stopped caring about your work, but because your motivation shifted. You no longer do things because you want people to see you. You do things because they need to come out of you. There is a story you need to tell, a vision you need to share, a truth you need to express. And it does not matter if anyone is watching. The act of creation itself has become the reward. This shift from performance to expression is one of the deepest signs of readiness, Sagittarius. It means you have moved beyond the ego's need for recognition and into the soul's need for authenticity. And when a Sagittarius starts creating from their soul instead of their ego, what comes out has a power and a beauty that is unlike anything they have produced before. The leap you are about to take is not about impressing anyone. It is about becoming fully, unapologetically yourself. And that is the most radical thing you can do. Sign 10. The 10th and final sign is the simplest and the most powerful of all. You know, deep inside you, past the doubts, past the fears, past the logical arguments about why now might not be the right time. You know that you are ready. You have known for a while. Maybe you have been ignoring it, burying it under practical concerns, telling yourself that it is too risky, too late, too uncertain. But the knowing persists. It sits in your chest like a second heartbeat, steady and sure, waiting for you to acknowledge it. That knowing is not reckless. It is not naive. It is the accumulated wisdom of every year you have lived, every lesson you have learned, every mistake you have survived. It is the voice of a person who has seen enough to know when a moment is real and when it is just noise. And this moment, this one right here, is real. You are ready, Sagittarius. Not because everything is perfect. Not because you have all the answers. Not because the risks have disappeared. But because you have reached a point where the risk of staying the same is greater than the risk of changing. And when that equation flips, when comfort becomes more dangerous than courage, the leap is no longer a choice. It is a necessity. So leap. Not tomorrow. Not when the conditions are right. Now. Because now is all you have ever had. And it has always been enough. Sagittarius, if you recognized yourself in these signs, then you already know what I am about to say. This is not a rehearsal. This is not a preview. This is the real thing. The leap you have been sensing, the change you have been feeling in your bones, the restlessness that wakes you up at 4 in the morning with a knowing you cannot explain. It is all pointing to the same moment. This one. You have spent your whole life preparing for what comes next. Every adventure, every heartbreak, every triumph, every failure. It was all leading here. To a version of you that is finally ready to stop circling and start landing. The leap does not require perfection. It requires faith. And faith is something you have carried with you since the day you were born under this sign of fire and expansion. You have 2 options after this video. Close it and hope things shift. Or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.